Hi, Ruby. I know we didn't get a chance to connect for a one-on-one portfolio review, but I wanted to make sure that I at least took a look and send you some notes and some thoughts that I have. I actually tried to do this last week, but my internet connection was so bad that the recording was just completely off. So this is going to be like my third time trying this. But anyway, I have your portfolio up here and I'm going to go through it again. So first thing that I wanted to cover on your homepage was I love this like kind of fun way of using the Chinese takeout box to kind of be the container for your projects. A few things. One, I don't think you need to have the thank you repeated throughout all of them. I would just go and remove that and then replace these images. The other thing is I would also because these are kind of like floating, I would also consider shrinking the takeout box itself down a little bit. And once you remove that thank you, maybe that is where the title of the project goes instead. Um, the other thing that I kind of thought about was I know on your homepage, because you're using this like pink background with red text, when I get into some of these projects, that color palette might sort of clash with some of your projects. So this one, it's okay. But I noticed that there were a couple others that maybe the pink starts to kind of like take away from the colors that you use in the project, or, they sort of add something that you didn't necessarily want. So something to think about. If you can change this, I think you're in Adobe Portfolio. I think, I don't remember exactly. Let's see. Head. No, you're on Squarespace. Okay, cool. So you can potentially change the backgrounds from project to project if you wanted to. And you could also create color palettes that will match more that project. So something to think about. I remember having some sort of note here, but I don't remember. Anyway, so I looked at this project first and I thought this was really cool. The thing that I wanted to kind of talk about with this is one, I think the way you've structured this project can be reorganized. So first thing, um, think about what it is you want to prioritize. Yes, you did the case study video, you did a bunch of social work, and you did a bunch of out of home. And depending on what you want to focus on more, right? Like whether you want to be more of a designer that works with social media campaigns, or you want to work on branding, or just like the overall concept of a project, think about that and figure out how you arrange your project is going to relate to that, to really connect what you want to do to what you are doing. So for example, like if I was really interested in branding and I came up with the brand and the concept for this, because I think also, yeah, you're an art director. You want to be an art director or something, you're an art director. Um, like what relates back? How can I present this work that relates back to being an art director and the responsibilities of an art director? Because right now, when I look at these projects, it's very much on the execution. And if I read the description during the summer, and the idea, in order to stay on the campus this year, we couldn't afford to say fuck it, small rules, fuck it to the small rules. Okay. Um, for me, I think like a responsibility of an art director is coming up with the concept and coming up with the inspiration and what is the visual direction here. And a lot of this work is like all of the final output, right? So I'm not getting a lot of that strategy. I'm not getting a lot of that thinking and all the stuff that goes into what an art director does for a campaign or a project before I get to the final thing. And so that's something to think about. Um, Going back to the structure, I like to think of it as like, what were the big moments? And I want those at the very top of the page. And so, for example, like I remember clicking into these images and thinking like, this is a really great image. I would go back and do a little photo editing where I'd make like the background flat and symmetrical, where like this is all level, maybe add some motion blur to the people so that my focus is on the work, and I'd maybe crop in a little bit so I then again see that. I'd also even consider like, photoshopping this over a bit and making them closer. So this is a really big moment, I think, like a print, application for out of home. I think looks really good. Again, like this to me is a big moment, like an out of home bus wrap, like that is big. And so I'd want to have that potentially at the top of the page, you know. Um, Some of these images can stay smaller, right? I think that was a cool image. I really like this image. Maybe this is like the first, maybe this is like the big header image, right? This is the first thing I see. I think this is a really cool image. And again, being intentional about your photo editing, making sure that like the guiding lines, the vertical and the horizontal lines of the building are straight and level, things like that. This is a cool image. Maybe it's not the most important. Same thing, same thing. The other thing I would think about going back to that, like being an art director, I'd want to have that strategy, that concept, and that discussion at the beginning of the project as well, somewhere here at the top. A little technical thing with this case study video, I think you can go in the settings within Vimeo and make it autoplay. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing here is like there's a lot of social work here. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you did for social media. And so I think about like narrowing that stuff down, right? Instead of maybe 7 images of the stories that you did, maybe it's only 3 or maybe it's 6, but the way you've arranged it is like there's 3 across and there's 2 rows of that. And again, if the focus is of being an art director, I would like have a section and like try to articulate how you got to this style and this visual direction, right? Like, why do the illustrations look like this? Why does the text have this treatment to it? Why like there's a lot of why questions here that I think you need to answer. Same thing for this. Sure, there's a lot of social media posts that you did. One, I think you need to find a more contemporary or better mock-up for a phone. And I think you need to present, there's a better way of presenting this. Like maybe the phone is in the center and you're trying to show that this is a carousel. And so maybe instead of having all the images from that carousel or all the types of images that speak to this concept, maybe the phone's in the middle and on the left and the right, there's like 1 or 2 more images, right? Same thing for here, kind of like this almost, right? Where you're showing a consistent carousel of like what every slide would be. Like this is okay. And I like these. Like, do they need to be in the phone? Can these just be big images of this execution? Like, I like this illustration style. I think these are really cool, and I'd actually love to see these really big versus in a phone, right? So yeah, that was those are kind of my notes on this project. I think also it's really awesome. I think you need to figure out a better way to highlight these because these are kind of small and these are big awards. Maybe your awards are at the bottom of the campaign so that when they get to it, they understand like, you know, these are the awards I won for this project. You know, I think that's like really awesome. And this is a really cool project as well. This looks great. Let's click into one more project. Let's go to the BCG. Yeah, so for this, I would just say, so cool that you have this. Figure out how to get that video, that Vimeo video on your Fuck It campaign to do the same thing here, where it's like full bleed. Cool. Yeah, what the thing I'm missing here, like you're starting to do it here, right? Here's some text, like we've adopted the standard pride flag, the instant recognition of what cool. Like here's articulation that I would want more of. And also I'd figure out how to better format it so it's a little bit more clear so I don't pass it. Yeah. And I think it's about it. Let's click into about my tears. I didn't see that last time. My tears. Let's click that. Okay, very cool. I like this. This is a fun little page. Maybe just figure out like maybe my tears isn't my first. Maybe it's like info or something. Maybe it's the meme meeting developed in Boston. Very cool. And perhaps on this page, you have like a CTA of how people can get in touch with you, just to be nitpicky. I'm not loving this, the way this is wrapping and orphaning. Something to think about. And I want to go to the fun page. Interesting. So these are like fun projects. And for something like this, like it took me a while to get here. So why couldn't you just have this as a project on your front page? Like I think this is cool. This is it kind of gives me a little bit about your personality, your sense of humor. And yeah, I could see this as like a campaign for some sort of brand or something. So why wouldn't you want to just like have this included on that front page potentially either? Um, so yeah. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions at all, you have my email. Feel free to email me. I've been doing way too many portfolio reviews already. And I hope you have a good day.